We're looking for receipt of evidence, opinion on proper notice.
The County Board of Supervisors, March 17th meeting notice and agenda was posted in the Government Center building in 2 places and posted on the county website on Thursday, March 12th, 2026. In addition, on Thursday, March 12th, 2026 at 4:31 p.m., the Office of the County Clerk distributed copies of such notice of meeting to supervisors and media via email.
That constitutes proper notice.
Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Brad Olson,
Here.
Doug Rowdy,
Here.
Steve Wornall,
Here.
Pam Garvey,
Here.
Tracy LeBlanc, here, Dan Ruck,
Here.
Sharon Kelly, Jeremy Hall,
Here.
Kim O'Connell,
Here.
Tony Johnson, Jay Luke. Absent. Fran Duncanson. Here. Russ Arkin,
Here.
Keith Karpinski,
Here.
and John Bonaprise. Looks like he's up there, but he has not unmuted himself.
All right, would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion on the agenda? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Carries. How about our consent agenda?
Mr. Chair, if I may, before any additional votes happen, I just want to ask for some clarity on whether the absences are excused or unexcused, just for purposes of voting later on.
Jay actually called me and told me he wasn't gonna be here. And he said Bonaprise was gonna be on virtual and Tony Johnson was gonna be on virtual. So if they're on,
Looks like Jay might be here.
Bonaprise is on, but he's muted.
Correct.
So what would you consider that?
Potentially, Mr. Johnson is unexcused unless he appears, or if you have noticed that he wasn't going to be here and may not be able to get on, theoretically, you as chair could grant an excuse for him. But otherwise, if he's not available to vote and didn't provide an excuse for why he wouldn't be available to vote, it would be an unexcused absence. And so it would be a vote of no on anything that comes across the board.
All right, well, he called Jay and told Jay he was gonna be on, not me.
Sure.
So I'd say if he's not on,
Would be unexcused, so it would be a no vote.
all right, how about our consent agenda? Anyone like to move on that?
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
Question before we vote, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
So I believe yesterday at the Environmental Services hearing, there was discussion that outlots in this resolution may need some work on it. And if so, wondering if it should be sent back to committee to have that, that work done on the outlots before we approve it and bring it back next month. I guess question for Corporation Counsel, if I could.
Yeah, so I can touch on that. The recommendation from Corporation Counsel to the committee was there was a topic of definition of outlot and whether that should be addressed. Corporation Counsel's advice was to move forward with the resolution with the changes as they're presented, and that any additional change that is requested or that needs to be addressed can certainly be brought back in front of the Environmental Services Committee and be addressed in a future meeting. That was the recommendation of the Corporation Counsel. But ultimately, the reason being, the definition does not need to be addressed, at least not right now. It's something that can be considered as we move forward and be on the agenda for environmental services next month. It could be that quick of a turnaround. So there's no reason to hold up the resolution for that purpose.
Does that satisfy your question?
No, but that's all right.
Would you want these split to vote on them separately?
Yes, I would.
All right, we'll vote on the minutes from the February 17th meeting. We
Make a-
need a separate motion for that. To split them.
Ultimately, if there's going to be any discussion or potentially a no vote, I think an active no vote, I think the resolution 0926 should be removed from the consent agenda, and the consent agenda should be voted on its own. Be my recommendation.
All right, can we get a motion to that effect?
Yeah, motion to remove resolution 926 from the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Roll call.
Roll call. Okay, well, roll call vote.
Fran Duncanson? Oh, are we clear on what the motion is? You're
I'm not.
moving to remove 0926 from the consent agenda. Is
And it
the
would just be
question.
voted on as a separate item down to.
And move down to 8.
Basically, what that would do is allow it to be available for discussion and debate. Anything under the consent agenda someone could vote no, but it sounds like someone would like to debate it, and as such, can't be debated on in the consent agenda. You just vote. So the motion right now is to remove it from the consent agenda and to move it down to number 8 for debate.
All right. Now, is everyone clear on the motion?
Yes.
Okay, Fran Duncanson,
Yes.
Russ Arcand,
Yes.
Keith Karpinski,
Yes.
John Bonaprise. Not unmuted. Jay Luke, also not on there. Brad Olson,
Yes.
Doug Rowdy,
No.
Steve Wornall,
No.
Pam Garvey,
No.
Tracy LeBlanc,
No.
Dan Ruck,
Yes.
Sharon Kelly,
Yes.
Jeremy Hall,
Yes.
Kim O'Connell,
No.
and Tony Johnson is an automatic no. It is 7 yeses and 6 nos. So that would be a majority.
So it moves.
How did Brown Prize vote?
He didn't. Unless I mathed wrong. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have no votes for John Bonaprise, J. Luke, and because Tony was unexcused, his is an automatic no.
Right, but
And
doesn't he
ultimately,
have to vote?
so it would be a point of order, is
Point of
my
order,
understanding. The question is a failure to vote by someone who is present, it is also counted as a no. So that would be a no as well.
So that would be 7 to 7.
Did the chair vote?
J. Luke has no vote either.
I meant Mr. Arcand.
Yes.
That's only 14.
How many people do we have present?
Or
With Alpha's vote, it's 6 to.
Chair.
Says Tony in the
So
vote?
ultimately, if there's a tie, what happens is the motion fails. So it stays on the consent agenda.
All right, we still can split the consent agenda though and consider them separate
You just can't there's no debate.
on either.
Anything on the consent agenda does not have debate. So you can take them up separately if you'd like.
I thought you could debate the minutes if they weren't correct.
If you pull them off the consent agenda, you certainly can. I believe our rules of order have the consent agenda is undebatable topics.
Are you checking into that?
Yes, sir.
but we still can split them so that at least our minutes don't fail.
Correct.
Go back to the original motion.
Well, we have a motion on the floor to adopt the consent agenda, but now it's been challenged. And Corporation Council is looking to see if it's debatable.
Robert's rules.
I know in the past we have split the consent agenda, and I felt that we debated items on the consent agenda.
We do not, in our rules of order, have anything specific about the consent agenda. Robert's Rules of Order dictate that non-controversial items such as minutes, reports, or minor resolutions go on a consent agenda and are to be approved or disapproved without debate.
All right, well, then we're definitely gonna split them. So we'll take the minutes from the February 17th meeting first. Is there any, can there even be discussion then if there's no debate?
Motion and vote.
Is there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Do we need a new motion? Because after they're separated, because I made the first motion for all of them. So do I rescind mine and the second rescind ours?
Someone moved to consent agenda.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So you would.
So that we can
both
split
vote
it?
separately, the motion would stand. Wouldn't it?
Kim, would you like to amend your motion with the permission of Tracy to approve the minutes as opposed to approve the consent agenda so that it takes up the single topic as opposed to both topics at the same time?
I can do
That's
that.
going to be the easiest way to do it.
That's easy. Okay.
The second
If the
and
second
with
is-
that?
Are you good with that? Okay.
All right, so
So
the
then they're
motion on the
separate.
floor currently is to approve the minutes.
From the February 17th county board meeting.
Meeting. Yep.
Any additions or corrections to the minutes? If not, all's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That carries. Do we need another motion to bring all right. Someone wants to bring resolution 926 to the floor.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Would you like a roll call vote or we're gonna call the vote? Roll call vote.
You want to see? Okay. Keith Karpinski,
No.
John Bon Prize. It's still not unmuted. Jay Luke, still not here. Brad Olson,
No.
Doug Rowdy,
Yes.
Steve Wornall,
Yes.
Pam Garvey,
Yes.
Tracy LeBlanc,
Yes.
Dan Ruck,
No.
Sharon Kelly,
No.
Jeremy Hall,
No.
Kim O'Connell,
Yes.
Tony Johnson, Fran Duncanson.
Yes.
And then do you want me to still address? Okay.
Well, what's the vote?
6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with Tony is 6-6.
And John didn't vote,
John also didn't vote.
so it would be a no.
He's 6-7.
Vote is 6-7. Does the chair want to vote?
Will it make a difference?
It would tie it, which no. Generally, chair wouldn't vote.
Can I ask
If
which
it
way it's in favor of no?
It is in favor of not passing.
I'll vote no.
That would be 8-6.
All right, the resolution fails. All right, are there any public comments? For 3 minutes a person, and we'll allow a total of 30 minutes Anyone wishing to speak, step up to the podium, state your name, where you're from. What's your 3 minutes?
Yeah, good evening. This is a little preemptive, but I just wanted to get it out there on the record. Thank you, Chair and members of Polk County. My name is Jason Avery, resident of Clayton, Wisconsin. My views are of my own and not of my current or past employers. This is important to note as my current position is a senior cybersecurity engineer, which has exposed me to this emerging AI technology and its future implications. I'm here tonight not in opposition to economic development, but to respectfully request transparent, informed, constitutionally adequate processes before any zoning recommendations related to potential AI data centers or related industry with severe ecological and energy impacts are advanced to any type of vote. This board and this community deserves a full picture before planning of this magnitude. Other Wisconsin communities learned too late that a single modern AI data center consumes as much electricity as 100,000 households. 2 data centers recently approved in Ozaukee and Racine counties will require power equivalent to 4.3 million homes, nearly double all of the 2.8 million households in Wisconsin. Polk County residents and neighboring counties sharing our grid should understand what the demand means for electricity bills, water consumption, and also noise related to these facilities. This is not a warehouse. It is heavy industrial infrastructure. And on the promise of jobs, while data centers may employ roughly 1,600 transient workers during construction, the average permanent workforce is only 157 people. The tax revenue projections also deserve the same kind of scrutiny. Happening right now in Wisconsin, I also need to raise a specific concern about non-disclosure agreements. Wisconsin Watch investigation published just weeks ago, at least 5 Wisconsin communities, Beaver Dam, Kenosha, Janesville, Menominee, and Beloit, signed secret NDAs with data center developers. In some cases, elected officials knew about projects over a year before the public was told, while official zoning and tax decisions were made without residents knowing what was approved. In Menominee, community outrage over this kind of secrecy led to the council stopping a $1.6 billion project in January. The Wisconsin State Senate has since advanced Senate Bill 969, which would prohibit local governments from signing these agreements, but has not been made law yet. But as a reminder, the Wisconsin Public Records Law already, statute 19.31 through 39 declares all citizens are entitled to the greatest possible information about the affairs of government. So I am therefore asking this board directly and on the record tonight, has Polk County or any town or entity within Polk County already signed non-disclosure agreements related to the AI data industry? All right, my wife will finish since I only have 3.
Hi, my name is Denise Avery. I am from Clayton, Wisconsin, in the town of Polk. I am an IT professional in the same field. I have 4 requests as a conversation starter. First, commit no zoning vote until a full independent public impact assessment, water, air quality, and noise has been completed and made available to all residents. Second, hold at least 1 dedicated public education forum with independent experts, not developer representatives. Present facts to Polk County residents and neighboring communities on the same power grid. Third, ensure that all written public comments submitted on this matter are entered into the official record. Fourth, educate the cities, towns, and villages of their statutory powers in Wisconsin to ban the land uses they deem as inconsistent with the community's interest, public welfare, and surrounding neighbors. I'm asking this board to say, not yet, not until our community has informed consent to have a full picture of impact. I have emailed a document to my supervisor, Arcand, as an example of an ordinance establishing interim use regulations for large-scale data center facilities pending completion of a comprehensive zoning source capacity study. Thank you for your time and your service.
Other public comment?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Fred Clark, and I'm a candidate for Congress here in the 7th Congressional District. I'm a Democratic candidate for Congress. So my hope is to go to Washington next year and represent you and the 26 other counties in the 7th Congressional District. So I'm sure you know the 7th District is an open seat this year. Our Representative Tiffany is running for governor, and I am one of a total of 8 candidates announced for this seat right now. My home is in Bayfield. Just a little bit about my background. I've spent most of my 37-year career in Wisconsin now working as a forester and land manager, doing forest management consulting all over the state of Wisconsin. It's great work. I've loved it. A lot of time outdoors. I know you have an active county forest here in Polk County. I also, in that time, served 3 terms in the Wisconsin State Legislature as a state assembly representative representing Sauk and Columbia and Marquette counties in years when I lived in Baraboo. I had a beautiful plan for retirement that was going really well last year when I made a decision to run for Congress. And what I've learned in the state legislature, especially as a representative, is that in areas like this, especially with lots of mixed political viewpoints, whoever your representative is needs to show up and be able to work with everybody. And we always read about in Congress, and they're going to battle about healthcare, and they're going to battle about immigration, and they're going to fight about war powers and whether we continue the war with Iran. But what you don't read about is some of the most important work. And that's that your representative needs to be able to show up and work with you to help make sure the federal government is doing what it needs to keep counties like Polk County working. So the question always needs to be, are you getting what you need from the federal government? Are you getting the highway funding in order to maintain your highway network? Are you getting the Veterans Services Funds so your Veterans Service Officer can do the job of supporting veterans here in the county? Is the mental health funding coming through to your Department of Health and Services so that you can provide mental health services? And the list goes on. But I think I looked this up, federal government puts about $88 billion a year into the state of Wisconsin. Somebody's got to help assure that that money goes where it needs to go and the resources of the federal government are used the way they need to be. And that's what you don't read about, but that's the work that your congressional representatives need to be doing every day. And I would make a commitment I would like to go do that work for you on your behalf as your representative next year in Congress. I left flyers here for everybody, so feel free to reach out, send me an email, ask questions of you, and I hope to see you here again. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Any other public comments? We're gonna close our public comment section and go to our proposed resolutions, ordinance, and other board action. How about our resolution 526? Want to move on that one?
I make a motion to approve resolution 526, designating the week of April 20th to 24th as Work Zone Awareness Week in Polk County.
Second.
Is there any discussion on the resolution? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries. How about our resolution 626?
Motion to approve.
Any discussion?
Got a second, don't I?
Then we got one over. Got a second. No. Any discussion on the? Address it or vote on it?
I'll have one question. What were some of the major changes? I see I just got in here, a regular copy.
So I can touch on that a little bit.
Just a little bit so we know that it's what.
One of the biggest changes is the enforceability portion. So enforcement and penalties. The way that the language was in the previous, in our current ordinance, indicates that if you pull a permit but don't comply with it, then there are enforcement actions that can be taken against you. It does not indicate that you can get a citation for failing to pull a permit. Doesn't indicate that you can get a citation for basically having a large assembly and never notifying anyone. This remedies that. This provides for citation enforcement. If you fail to get a permit, it provides citation enforcement if you pull a permit and fail to comply. And additionally, it increases the penalties. The citation penalty that was previous ordinance was pretty minimal. Ultimately, with these large assemblies, we're talking about situations that can create very real problems. And so if you fail to comply with either getting the permit or following through with a lot of the safety provisions of the ordinance, there should be some real teeth to failing to do so. So we added a significant fine increase. The fine increase, if you look at failing to get a license, the minimum fine is $2,000. The maximum fine is $10,000. Similarly, if you have a license and fail to comply, minimum fine is $1,000 and maximum fine is $10,000. So these are real penalties that give people an incentive to comply. Ultimately, if you're looking at something where it's a large event and they have thousands and thousands of people and they're charging a ticket fee, they're not going to care if they have to pay $300 for a citation. That's not going to stop anyone from doing anything. So that's why we increased those. We also really streamlined the way that the ordinance was written. The clerk went in and we kind of had it separated out into, hey, here's the things you need to have on your application, and here's all those same things again that you need to comply with when you're having your event. We put that into one section and basically clarified that these are the conditions that you need to comply with, and you need to prove that you're complying with them when you fill out your application. We added some additional requirements. You have to go to the emergency coordinator and get them to sign off on your plan before you provide it to the clerk. You have to go to the fire chiefs and get them to sign off on your plan, so that, again, there is evidence that you are doing everything you can to comply with our minimum requirements here. And it takes a lot of the administrative onus off of the county clerk, because the county clerk isn't going to know whether or not your plan is sufficient. So the county clerk then would have to go and reach out to all these different people to make sure that the plan is sufficient. This puts that onus on the permit applicant, that you have to bring proof that you've done these things. Anything else I'm missing, Sheriff?
No, I would just add that this happened last summer, the week of the county fair. We learned 2 music festivals, and we learned about them through social media. And there was no plans, nobody had pulled permits. And so you look at when we have the potential of 40,000 people visiting the fair that weekend, that week of the fair, and then now you have a music fest that could have anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 people. It presents a little bit of a strain on the resources. So the goal is just to work with these event coordinators and whatnot and make sure they're complying so that they can have a safe event and it doesn't tie up a lot of our resources.
All right, any further discussion?
Question for Corporation Counsel. I mean, none of these changes were significant enough to kick in a public hearing on this.
Ultimately, no ordinance change requires a public hearing other than zoning, unless the chair of whatever committee is taking it up asks for it, which is not a statutory requirement, but allowed for in our rules of order. So our rules of order allow for a chair to ask for a public hearing if the chair wants one.
Okay.
Anybody else have a question? All right, we're gonna put it to a vote. We've done on a roll call vote. Anyone calling for that, or can we do a voice vote? All right, we'll do a voice vote. All those in favor? All the same sign? Carries. All right, they'll move us to resolution 726.
To accept the resolution or to approve the resolution to accept the donation from Dennis Nelson of the rifle replica.
I'll second it.
Any discussion on the motion? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
All same sign. Carries. All right, resolution 1026 to write off uncollectible accounts receivable at Golden Age Manor.
I'll move to approve resolution 1026 to write off the uncollectibles for Golden Age Manor.
Second.
Discussion?
I have a question. How come these are back 3 years again? I thought I thought we had 90 days or something in our
We had a
new
good-
finance stuff.
We had a good explanation for that. I
Okay.
would like to give it.
Don, you want to give that one?
Yeah.
All right.
It's a little bit of history. We did have a period of time where we were not doing a great job of writing these off. And a few years ago, we had a bigger number than this. But for reasons of accounting, we need to, the first year we can do this now with this new practice is 2023. So everything's caught up to 2023. Next year it'll be 2024, and the year after that will be 2025. So we have this 3-year look back.
So instead of the 90-day stuff that,
This one just.
is it reported 90 days? So don't we have that in our policy? Didn't we update that?
Well, there's a difference between when we feel something is in need of collections and when we can write it off. But you're right, GAM does have to note something as being in arrears after that period of time.
After that short period. What was it, 54 last year, wasn't it? It's 40 this year.
I'd have to go back.
All right.
Anyone else like to comment?
So this is, I'm asking if this is something that's recommended by our auditors, that we do this every year on the look back. Don?
I can't speak for the auditors. I can't say that we've been doing this now for 3 years and that we think it's an excellent way to. But I'm unable to speak for the auditors.
Thank you.
To Supervisor O'Connell's question, in 2022, we wrote off 154,357. And in 2024, we wrote off $143,817.83. So it's significantly less.
Going down, yeah.
How did we miss the 2 from 2023?
So I can touch on that a little bit. The amounts don't necessarily automatically get written off. Ultimately, the termination, when someone is in debt to Golden Age Manor will do what they can to try to collect that. Sometimes they may send it to our office for enforcement, so we might start a civil action. What we've done more recently and what we've had a lot more success with is sending it to the state for their collection process, and then the state goes through the process of collecting those debts. And that's been a lot more successful than trying to start a civil action against multiple people, most people who don't have any assets. And so it doesn't it's not as though someone owes money and we automatically just say, no, we're not even gonna try to collect this. It goes to the state and we try to collect it for a couple of years. I don't know why 3 years is specifically our look back, but that I guess is what the finance people decided on.
Anyone else like to comment on the motion? If not, we're gonna put it to a vote. All those in favor? Opposed, same sign. Passes. Which will bring us to resolution 1126. Authorize cancellation of outstanding orders. Anyone like to move on this resolution?
A motion bring it to the floor for discussion. Resolution 1126. Cancellation of outstanding orders.
All right. Gonna motion to bring it to the floor for discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Carries. On the floor for debate. On the floor for debate.
Is this from the clerk? I'm sorry. Is this from the clerk? Can you explain? What
This went through general government. This is the other side of it. These are checks that people have not cashed that are laying out there. So we're writing them off basically from 2022.
Anyone else? Could probably use a fresh motion.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
1126.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Hold same sign. Carries. Which brings us to resolution 1226, the adoption of the Polk County Bicycle and Pedestrian Plan for 2026. Anyone want to move on this one?
Make a motion, we approve resolution 1226.
Any discussion? Oh,
You want an explanation on this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, this bike ped plan was a joint effort with West Coast Regional Planning. It ties in our communities on a safe bike routes between the counties around us and within our county and our districts. Passing this plan does not mean that we are building bike paths anywhere. What this allows, having this on there, is if funding opportunity comes along for projects, Polk County can apply for those projects and those grants. So that's the gist of the bike ped plan. So if a highway project comes up and there's funding available, we can apply for additional grants to expand the shoulders to get things done on that, to account plan, to connect community. There was public hearings on these. There was a separate task force, meeting group. Supervisor Warrendall sat on that one. Our highway commissioner, along with Tim Anderson, drove that. West Coast Regional Planning.
anyone want to comment?
That was a poor choice for this committee. Because I'm a highway guy. And widening shoulders for bikes is not in the dollars. But grant money becomes available when you have a plan that's set and it's good. Well, maybe there'll be some money there, but if you don't have a plan adopted, you know, the money will go to the people that got their organization together. So.
Price of gas, we might all be riding bikes.
Mr. Chair. The grant was used to develop the plan also, I believe. So I mean, we didn't spend a lot of money on this. We just put it in place. And we've seen it with West Central for a few months now.
Yeah.
Do we know what the amount was? What was the grant? Was it a pretty good one or?
They funded it 80%, but I've never seen a dollar.
I am not sure on the dollar cost on that, the 80% share.
I couldn't answer it either, so I just got the joys of sitting there.
I think adopting this gives a false sense of priority for our county. If you adopt a plan, there's no means to fund it. And we're not placing highways and roads fast enough because we don't have enough money. I think this is kind of a false promise to our constituents. I don't see a benefit of going further down this road.
No one else want to comment?
I think just going through it, it doesn't give timelines or anything like that. Rather than an actual plan, it's more of a list of possible goals and identifies some possible, if money becomes available in the future, maybe something would be acted on, but it doesn't tie us to anything.
Did it go through a committee?
It went through the Public Safety Committee with recommendation to approve.
All right.
Several times.
Anyone else want to comment? All right, we're gonna do it with the voice vote unless someone calls for something different. Roll call. Roll call.
Everybody understand what the motion is? Just to approve the resolution. All right, Keith Karpinski,
Yes.
John Bonaprise. Jay Luke's excused. Brad Olson,
No.
Doug Rowdy,
Yes.
Steve Wornall,
Yes.
Pam Garvey,
Yes.
Tracy LeBlanc,
Yes.
Dan Ruck,
Yes.
Sharon Kelly,
Yes.
Jeremy Hall,
No.
Kim O'Connell,
Yes.
Tony Johnson, Fran Duncanson,
Yes.
and Russ Arkan.
Yes.
2, 3, 4, 10-3.
All right.
Well,
Carries.
4 if you include John Bonaprise.
What about our resolution 1326? Rescind chapter 22 of Polk County Board.
Motion to approve 1326.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
I would just ask, what is chapter 22? There's, in the heading, it doesn't say what it even is.
The general nuisance ordinance.
It is public nuisance,
Public nuisance, okay.
and it is rescinding duplications within the code and also in other parts of the code that were already being addressed in another department.
Anyone want to comment?
The comment I would make is that the changes that, a lot of the changes in that's been of the chapter 2 that was rescinded have been added back then into or edited in chapter 16 for the next resolution.
All right. Anyone else? We're gonna call the voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries. Bring us to resolution 1426. Approve.
I'll second it.
Discussion?
Did this have a public hearing on this one?
We didn't, we were not required to have a public hearing, but we did have one, actually on both resolutions.
Anyone else? Call a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign. Carries. All right, now we got the Sour Seven Lakes Trail memorandum of understanding?
Yes, Mr.
Just a comment on it or what it?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I sent out the draft we've been working on with DNR, with the emphasis on getting the planning on the DNR side, with, limiting the risk to the county on the planning side of that. We went back and forth on that. This is that version that was, I talked to, I guess, with the DNR that we came to agreement on. It does reduce our risk for the planning process, so they can start planning the process. Start the planning process right away on the Star Seven Lakes Trail, along with their, you'll know in the plan, it talks about NR 44. And then following that plan, they will be responsible for all the public hearings and all that, so that the county will have input.
You have any questions?
I've got one. Number 5 on the third page.
Does everybody have a copy? There's extra copies here.
I'd like a copy.
Thank you. Everybody else have one?
Anybody on here?
Sharon,
We'll take another one too.
Doesn't,
Unless you want to share with me for.
you're younger than me, Jeremy. You should.
enough we can.
So what was the major, or Mr. Chair? Is the major change then identified in section 5 subsection?
Right, where they list out that although they approve a property plan for the property, as they tied into their logical region with that. The next one calls for the purpose of this agreement. The property plan means the master plan is identified in NR 44.03 with Wisconsin pursuant to NR 44, the administrative code, recreation use is allowed. So that's the master plan that they'll be doing. And it'll take approximately 18 months for that to be completed.
So that's the major change in the MOU is right there.
That was the major chain on getting that. The other was just cleanup language and clarifying some maintenance items in it. They're taking out the requirement for us to do repair washouts as maintenance because they can get very expensive on the rail beds. A couple others were, we took out, it lists in here that the county may fund capital improvement projects on the trails if they wish to, or we're not obligated to. We're obligated just for maintenance. And it still has the clause for the 90 days. Yes, Ken.
Well, still the obligation of the county. There's 6.7 that says will operate and maintain and repair. Doesn't say may, and it doesn't say with or without funding. Let's go back to page 3, number 5, the department. They're calling it a property plan. There's no property plan in chapter 44, so it doesn't make any sense. Why is that in there? Why would they make something up then? So if you do a plan, call it a property plan, it doesn't come up in chapter 44. So the plan doesn't count. If they're going by chapter 44, it has to be a master plan.
And that's what's recognized in the next line.
Yeah, but it says
If
property.
they call it a property plan due to their, when they look at the economic, that dumbbell region that they said to look at of all the 14 counties, that whole ecological
Dumbbell, but
dumbbell, but they looked at
thing is,
property
they
plan
changed
for
chapter
this
40.
agreement.
Means a master plan.
But as in this agreement, they say for this agreement, property plan means master plan as identified in NR 44.
So it's gonna come back and haunt us like all these old ones where they change wording just for themselves, because everything is for the state right now. It says we will do all this, and the state says they get to keep it all, is what I'm saying. I mean, if people should really read this, it's pretty one-sided. And to change that, so in the 5 years come down, what's a property plan? It was never put in chapter 44. So what is it then? We gotta dig around and find out that it's, oh, that means this and this means that. I mean, that word should be, property plan is not anywhere in chapter 44. So I don't even know why they bring it up. I mean, I think you should ask them to strike that line there.
So is this, I mean, we're not in a committee here. So is this something there's gonna be a motion on, or are you just giving a report, or?
Oh, we were looking for direction. If you guys agreed with the MOU, go ahead and sign the MOU.
You are looking for direction. It sounds like you're gonna get some then. Who else wants to?
I have,
Hold it.
you go ahead first.
I can.
Number 11 on page 7, it says the county may enter into agreement with a friends group which meets with criteria. What does that mean?
So ultimately, there is a friends group that I believe has to register with the state. And it gives. What would normally happen is county can contract with a friends group if the county wants the friends group to assist in maintenance. So we've had those types of agreements with friends groups in the past. We have them on other trails as well. It provides us the opportunity through this MOU to basically contract out to a third party, the friends group, the ability to go and maintain that trail as well.
Okay, then the next one, number 12, it talks about the department has an electronic application system for groups interested in volunteering on the state trail. Was the county going to have access to that system and a list of people that want to volunteer, or is that, how does that happen? Because it says the county may enroll volunteers in the department's volunteer programs. Well, then you can tell them to enroll, but then does that come back to the county then? So you know who's volunteering and who manages that?
Is this volunteer, is this the same as other programs that we have volunteers for? Do we have other programs where we have volunteers?
Through the state program?
For the friends groups,
No, through the state electronic application system that the state department has.
that I couldn't ask you.
Is that, they said it compared to the DOT with the signs up, is what that was. Is how they have how they have to register and do it.
Did Mitch, Kim didn't, she mentioned that one?
She mentioned that at that meeting, that part would be that
Can
way.
adopt the highway, you adopt.
It's like, it's adopt a highway thing is what that part is. The other one is, it goes through quite a bit of things, that number 11, the friends group, because we asked, there's a special lady just for that.
Just for the friends group.
Just for the friends groups for all of them, because there's 60 some in the state. And they can get more funding than the department can. So that's why they want some of those that they can get way more money.
So they would encourage us to sit down with the Friends of the
Friends
Towers and
keep that going, yeah.
keep that going.
Okay,
We don't have to, but they encourage.
but I still don't understand the volunteer thing. How do you get, if you can tell people to go to this state website probably, because it says electronic application system and volunteer, but then how do you know who's volunteering? And then who manages that? Do we have somebody that manages all the volunteers?
Let's say that's a state program, being it's a state program. We're just maintaining the trail.
So somebody from the state will assign those volunteers to work on the trail or whatever.
The maintenance would be done by the friends groups and the county. As far as a volunteer, I'm not sure what the word volunteer means in that statement. If it's
Okay,
the volunteer
we should just have
Flowers.
clarification on that.
at that.
If I can, I don't have a really good answer for you. What I would say is that you'll note that what you're talking about is under the county's obligations portion of the contract. It indicates that the county can direct people to go to that volunteer portion. If you go up to the obligations state for the department, it says that the department will make any volunteer programs available to the county. The department has an electronic application system, so it talks about basically the same thing. We can direct people that want to volunteer on the trail to the state application system.
Yep.
Is my reading of the contract. The department then has an obligation to notify the county of anybody who is trying to volunteer on the trail. And the state then has that affirmative obligation under the contract to notify us that someone wants to volunteer and provide their volunteer services on the trail. And then we, as the county, would have the authority to determine whether we utilize that group, whether we not utilize that group,
Okay,
et cetera. That's my understanding of the contract, but
okay. Let's see, go ahead, Doug. I'm looking, my other questions.
I guess my comment is, when I look back at what our original intent was with the DNR after the lawsuit, we don't seem to be following that trail. And of course, in agreement with Kim and reading this whole thing over, I just feel it's one-sided. And an example is when you talk maintenance and they give us a list of what we have to do, why would we do any maintenance? I mean, we lost the lawsuit and we know who's using the trail. I'm trying to be careful of what I say, but why would we do any? You know, I can't understand this. It might take 2, 3, 5 years to do an MOU. We have an MOA, I'm saying. And they even say in here, they haven't agreed on who's going to be able to use the trail. So why don't we just, I just can't see this at all.
Well, the advantage is staying with the DNR and putting the planning process for the usage of the trail on the DNR through the MOU kicks the timing of it kicks that off now. That planning begins now. And what DNR said was that the process will take about 18 months for them to plan for the Stour Trail. Should we give the trail back? If we want to give the trail back, that's fine. We can do that too. And not do any maintenance on it anymore and give it back to DNR. Then the planning in their study falls down to the bottom of their list. So it may be years upon years before they'll even take up another master plan for this specific trail.
That's fine.
So, but that's definitely what the board can do. I mean, we're under no obligation. If we want to send in the letter of 90-day termination, we can also do that.
A question. I did not see this in my board packet. And I haven't looked. So is this proposed agreement, is that available?
It was emailed to you.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about the public.
Oh,
Because public meeting, we're talking about this in public, but I didn't have it in my packet. And I didn't see on the website where it was part of the packet that was on there either.
Wasn't in the packet.
It came from most.
It came to us as supervisors
Yeah.
separately in an email, but it is on the agenda and it's not part of the board packet that we received tonight. And I do not believe it is also available for the board packet that is online for the public. And I just feel like that it should be for transparency purposes.
Mr. Chair. Just wondering, Mr. Loso thought on what was the reason to use the term property plan instead of master plan?
I really don't know. I don't recall what the justification is. What I can say is it doesn't.
I mean, we're required to make a master plan by the DNR's, the statute and the DNR's lawsuit, and then all of a sudden they're telling us we're making a property plan. Why?
Ultimately, again, I don't know. They are required under NR 44.
So my question is that a significant thing?
For me, no, for a couple of reasons. One, it's their obligation to do it, so they can call it whatever they want to call it, so long as they comply with the requirements to complete a master plan and they call it a property plan. I don't know that makes a difference. For the purposes of a contract, I also don't think it makes a difference because the sentence following when they say we will complete a property plan, they say for purposes of NR 44, a property plan as a master plan. I mean, they're telling us we're going to complete a master plan. We're going to call it a property plan, but it's a master plan for purposes of NR 44. Ultimately, if for some reason someone challenges that, that's not going to fall on us. So it doesn't really make a difference from my perspective, but why, I don't know. They must have some reason. I mean, they wouldn't do it for no reason. I think Mo was saying they have a property plan because it encompasses the entire sector. And then for purposes of the Stour itself, it meets all the requirements of a master plan. I'm not sure. I don't know the intricacies of why they want to use that particular phrase. But from my perspective, it doesn't matter, is what I'll say.
Brad, you got something?
Pam had her hand up.
So just to kind of go along with what Doug had said, so back to our original issues, if we sign this, we get to talk with them about the master plan, but do we get any, I mean, if they overrule us, I mean, do they still have the clout on the master plan and then we're on the hook to maintain the trail? I mean, as far as, is it like a 6-3, or what kind of vote or what kind of, yes, we get to help negotiate, but if the DNR says, hey, no, we're doing X, Y, and Z, and we're back kind of square one, but now we have to do everything we've signed, am I understanding that correctly?
That's absolutely right. So we, under this agreement, would have the opportunity to not only participate in the public hearings, we, as the manager of the plan, also would have the additional ability to provide additional input on what's been going on the trail, what we see for usages. We have a unique ability to provide additional information, but ultimately, you're correct. If they complete their master planning and say, this is going to be a pedestrian, you can only walk on this trail.
Right.
They could absolutely say that, and we would still, under this agreement, be on the hook to maintain. Now, that being said, we would have 90 days. If they came out with a master plan that said that, we could say, okay, well, you know what, we don't want anything to do with that. We're backing out of it, and say, now it's yours, you maintain it, you do everything you want with your master plan. We don't agree with it, whatever. We have that 90-day out no matter what. We can terminate the contract without cause.
So that's part of so that was the determination there. I guess I missed the fact there does not have to be a cause to
Without cause.
terminate.
90 days.
Okay.
So yes, you are correct that could be something that is the outcome regardless of all the input. Let's say we gave input saying, this is a perfect trail for horses. Everything we say says this is an equestrian trail. This should be only, again, I'm using as ridiculous of options as possible. This is only an equestrian trail, and the Polk County thinks it should only be an equestrian trail. And they say, no, we're not going to do that. We are bound to whatever their master plan ends up saying.
And they were clear that it's not a vote by usage situation, that if 2,000 snowmobilers say we want snowmobiles on there and 1,000 hikers say they want just hiking on there, it's one comment from each one. They look at the continuity of the trail to see what's best for the trail itself overall for the community.
So in the long run, what's the
Hold
benefit?
on. We gotta, I
Sorry.
don't know, we in a committee of the whole here? What are we in? I mean, I don't even know how this got agended that. Are we in a committee of the whole or what are we in?
We are not in the committee of the whole.
Well, we don't have a motion on the floor. We're like debating something. It seems like. Should this be at a committee level and not here?
Ultimately,
We can move it right back down to committee.
Well, is it some urgent that you need an answer tonight on? Cause I don't think we're here. with this.
Yeah, we're not ready.
No, we're not.
That's what I was looking for.
All right, we're gonna let Brad comment and then.
All right, I'll just cut to the chase. I'll make a motion to postpone it indefinitely and send it to a committee.
So.
Not maybe the definite part.
That ends it.
Right.
Is that in order?
I would ask.
You want a date certain?
I would ask to clarify the motion being proposed. Is it a motion to just send it to, would this go to
Parks.
Safety.
Public Safety, Public Works Committee for additional consideration?
Yes.
Okay. The motion is to kick
well-
it back down. Okay, sorry.
I guess question for Corporation Council. Could it not also possibly go to environmental services as trails?
Trails are in Polk.
Yeah.
Works out.
All right, yep, I'll agree with that.
So you're referring it to committee
Yep. The Public Works, Public Safety.
in a motion.
Move the topic to, it's just the topic, basically.
Hate to see it die for lack of a second.
I'll second it.
I'll second that.
All right. So any discussion on the motion, moving it back to committee? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries. Let's hope that our update on the regarding the rules of order stays a bit more in order.
This is in your packet. This is just showing what has so far come out of executive. It will be back in executive in April. There's no vote on it tonight. We will be voting on these for the new board. So in the April county board meeting, we go into committee of the whole, go over all of the order, discuss it some more, and then it gets adopted at that time. But if you have any further comments or changes, the executive committee is a great one to bring it to. You can talk to Mo, Joe, or myself as we've been kind of working on this document for consideration by the executive committee, who will put forth their recommendation for the rules of order for the next board. So it's just kind of to look at, review, see changes we've made for the things that came out of executive, and then bring it back to April if you have any further amendment.
Also, a template that was provided by the Wisconsin Counties Association has been sent out by email to all supervisors twice now. If you have not received the template rules of order for you to look over, reach out to me and I will get you a copy. Again, it's not on the agenda today for any of you to take any particular action. It's so that you're all aware of what's going on and to notify you that if you want to opine on any changes, to come to executive committee and address them there.
All right. Well, I surely don't have any appointments. So we would go to the county administrator.
I have no appointments.
All right. I don't really have a county board chair report, so we'll go to the administrator's reports. Administrator have a report?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I do. So you want to bring that up? Evening, everyone. Just a couple things to start out with. Sales tax was down for February, 3.6%. Overall, we're down 33,000 from 2025. The new walking bridge is in at D.D. Kennedy. It's looking really nice down there. ADRC Transportation is looking for volunteer drivers. If you know anyone, please let me know or get a hold of ADRC. They do get reimbursed 72.5 cents per mile. Also, the 3-inch imagery is now available on Beacon on the GIS site. Weight restrictions around our highways right now. They went on March 5th on the county highways and March 9th on State Highway 65. EDC Terry Howard is retiring at the end of the month. So EDC is looking for a replacement for him. We have a treatment court graduation of Justin Pringer on April 10th. Treatment court starts at 8:30, graduation at 10. Encourage everyone to go to that. It's really a good thing to go to. And the other thing is now I have my new hobby, monitoring the cost of oil. As things go on, as we can't get asphalt prices currently right now with everything that's happening. So right now that could shift highway projects, our highway asphalt budget, upwards to $500,000 at least. So depending on where that lands. So kind of monitoring that on seeing if we have to shift projects. Want to recognize the county employees this month that have over 15 years. And that's Corey Fisk from Highway with 16 years. Janet Lee at law enforcement with 17, Tammy Peterson in administration with 17 years, Kim Mortensen from Joe's office in corporate counsel with 20 years, Tanya Carson at 24 years at GAM, and Denise Williamson, an ROD with 25 years. And the other people I want to recognize here, Supervisor Warrendale, Supervisor Ruck, and Supervisor Johnson. I want to thank them for their time on the board. Really appreciate it. You're serving our community and our residents. Thank you very much for your service there. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Anybody have any questions for the administrator? Okay, thank you. Anyone have any announcements or reports from meetings attended?
I do. So on Friday, I attended the county consortium meeting of the Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development. One of the things we brought up there pertaining to Polk County was the closure of Polaris and Osceola and the loss of 200 jobs. So Polaris intended on, but had not yet filed their statutorily required 60-day notice of the plant closing called a warn notice. So we facilitated some communication back and forth. So everybody's on the same page with that. And then now, once that's filed, the Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development can deploy what they call their rapid response team to go on site at the factory in Osceola and assist people to get another job. It's a good program.
Yeah. Anybody else? With Bonaprise being muted, guess we're not gonna get his report. I did get a call, I don't know, a couple weeks ago from a school teacher in Clear Lake and asked me if I would come in and talk to the juniors and seniors in the civics class. And I guess I said yes, so I was kind of obligated to do it, but I've never been so nervous in my life. I get in there, there's probably, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 kids in this civics class, and they just wanted to know what we do as a county board supervisor, and they all had questions, and, you know, just, it was a 55-minute. I told the teacher, I said, I can't do 55-minute a speech. So they're gonna have to ask me a question, and I'd try to answer it. And they had one that the teacher said all the kids want to know, but nobody would ask. They want to know if we got paid. Yeah, we get paid. I mean, but the kids were afraid to ask. They had a lot of good questions, and the teacher said that they've never paid so much attention in class as to have someone else come in, and besides the teacher, I suppose, every day. But that was interesting. I had butterflies. It was okay once it got going, but that was interesting.
I believe if you're interested, that civics class is looking for other people to come and speak about county government. I also went and spoke at Clear Lake for that.
Did you, to the
I
juniors and
did
seniors?
not speak to that many. I spoke to one class of like 20 kids or something.
And then one of the kids that I know knew I was coming, so the teacher asked if I would go into the, I think it was 7th grade class, they just wanted me to come into the class. So I went in there, and the teacher kind of introduced them all, and I left. I mean, that was strange.
You're a rock star, Melissa.
You know,
I don't know.
no autographs.
All right, anyone else have a report? Now we got one item to go.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Stand adjourned at 7:14.
14.
It wasn't a record.